In medieval Europe, people could escape feudal servitude if they could just make it to the city. They said, Stadtluft macht frei. Cities gained powers by negotiating royal charters from kings in return for support for wars or other projects. These special powers were recognized in the Magna Carta. The City of London and all other cities, boroughs, towns shall have all their liberties and free customs. Over time, cities developed a great variety of governance structures, often run by small cliques. In 1835, Earl Grey and Hudson Bay Company man Edward Ellis led a reform that gave all cities a regular method of incorporation, accountability to citizens through elections, standardized powers, and professional civil servants. The Canadian rebellions of 1837 highlighted the need for governance reform. William Lyon Mackenzie was the first mayor of Toronto and was a prominent leader in the violence. Britain believed more responsible city government structures would avoid future rebellions. The UK legislation inspired the first wave of urban reform in Canada. In the Baldwin Act of 1849, cities gained broad powers that permitted them to do anything that did not conflict with higher levels of government. The British North America Act made provinces responsible for cities. The founding of Canada in the 1860s and the adoption of the Baldwin Act, almost word for word, by the provinces, was critical to the first wave of Canadian urban reform. The 1860s were also important for British Columbia urban reform. James Douglas incorporated New Westminster and Victoria. In 1865, British Columbia got its first municipal act, giving cities broad powers. When British Columbia gained full democracy within Canada, one of its first acts was to remove full democracy from cities. The legislature removed broad powers and instead prescribed strict limits of responsibility. Cities have been trying to regain broad powers ever since. Cities may have had deficient leadership, but they certainly did not have a great role model in the provincial government. The province soon commenced the Great Potlatch era, in which public resources were generously granted to people connected to the government. Incompetence and corruption resulting from the democratic reforms of the first wave would lead to a second wave of Canadian urban reform.